Hey there, Art 8. I am coming to you via podcast. If you're watching this, thank you. I am sorry about Monday. Hopefully, in my absence, class was still appropriate and everything went well. If in the future something like that happens again, please wait maybe 10 minutes and then log out. I don't expect you to be in there the entire hour. I did, however, try for 30 minutes to log in and was unable to. So I tried a different network, and turns out there was some issues with K-12 as an entirety, and you maybe have seen that this morning as well. You can watch this just for extra information. I did, however, give everyone attendance points and 5 extra credit points for being there. And tomorrow morning, about 11:35, I'm going to hold a Class Connect session. You can join at 11:30, but I will not be able to visit until 11:35. So I will be in attendance, but you will have to wait 5 minutes. So you may want to just log in at 11:35 so you're not waiting very long. To start, we are in week 13 this week, and I just have laid out kind of what was going on for the week. I talked to you a little bit about that extra credit assignment, creating a mask. Next week, you have an actual mask assignment that is a little bit different than what I'm asking for this week. This week, it's extra credit, and I want you to simply take a look at some of these. I did not mean to have the quiz, but to have some of these mask examples. This is not, let's see here. On this website, you can see some different African masks. So if I take a look here, it will show me all of these different type of mask examples. And for extra credit, all I want you to do is create a mask that is inspired by these examples on the board. It also has clip art, so you can actually copy, make a printout, and then color it yourself. So if we go back to more examples, I can see some African mask designs. So here are a few examples. This is like a positive and negative, and then it gives you a step-by-step example of how to create it. So it can be flat. It can be created with construction paper, regular printing paper, paper plates. And then I did share some links in an email to you on how to create a mask. There are some ways that you can make it just by using paper plates. If we take a look at Google Images here, these are definitely some very fancy masks. This one looks like it's created out of paper and then it's been folded. One thing you can do is cut a circle, and then if you cut a little bit on the top and the bottom in the center and overlap them and tape them in the background, they create kind of a dome effect. So you could do that as well. Or here's another example of creating notches. And this mask can be any way you want, but I do want it to be inspired by an African mask and some different African mask designs. So we can see some information here. Here are a lot of other masks that you can take a look at to get inspiration. So as you notice, there's a lot of geometrical shapes. There's a lot of pattern, repeating going on. A lot of times they're symmetrical, which means if I cut it in half, it's the same on each side. And then also very bright colors. So that's what I'm looking for when you create your extra credit mask. If we take a look back then at the rest of the week, we've got reading section content, African art pages 1 through 8. You will have a tutorial, so that's just in your reading. It's a few pages just kind of explaining some different masks for you. And then really you can just work on the extra credit. There is no other assignments this week. Next week, then, we will have an assignment and our quiz. And so we'll take a look at that for next week. So for this week, if we take a look a little bit, some things that you will be discussing and reading about is fertility and how that is basically being able to produce an offspring. And in the African culture, having numerous children was necessary. This is because many of them didn't survive. A lot of them didn't live past the age of 5, and so if they had many other children, they had a better opportunity for their heritage to continue on. So fertility is one of the words that you're going to need to know for this week, and how it's important and how it is valued in the African culture. Then we have spirit, and this kind of connects to the mask. So a man wearing a mask was believed to have the ability to reach spirit through dance and movement, and then in turn was possessed by the spirit. It says once Europeans had contact with Africans, they became intrigued by the masks and they were sought to collect these items. So this is basically just saying that they connected to a higher power, they believed, to spirit, when being able to wear this mask. You know, the mask really represents not the individual person, but the culture itself, and that's why, you know, you can kind of cover your features with something else. And then they would also create dances and movement to help in ceremonies and celebrate and connect to spirits that way. One other thing we're going to look at is initiation rites. And basically, what this is the masks were created, again, to communicate with spirits or ancestors. And then they would not portray a particular person or animal, but they would resemble an actual person or animal. And then I have a YouTube video here, which I will share out to you. And this basically is an example of an initiation rite. Sorry. We'll go this way. Of a young man becoming a man. So in the culture itself, to when you grew up and you became a certain age, you had to basically prove that you were worthy of manhood. This example of the initiation rite that I have here is with ants. And so it's an example of the young children, I guess you could call them to begin with, that would go through and have these ants on their hands, and they would have to be able to sustain the hurt because the ants would sting. So I will send this to you as well in a K-mail so that you can watch it. If you do plan to come to class tomorrow, maybe we'll talk a little bit about the video itself and if it was interesting, what you think on initiation rites, different things like that. Then we have Haitiki, which is a small figure that was worn around the neck to ward off evil spirits. So again, we're just going over some vocabulary words. A lot of times they were created out of jade, and you'll see them. Here's an example of a person wearing that necklace. The last is Moko, which is a body or facial tattoo, and it was typically, it was typical for the Maoris to have a body or facial tattoo. And then you'll notice as we go through and learn a little bit more, Men had tattoos in one specific place and women had tattoos in another. So again, we have our vocabulary for this week, just going through and taking a look at each one. A lot of this is new to a lot of us, so we're going to want to make sure we can remember all of these words. So I would suggest creating flashcards. The next slide again just talks about those different masks that you will create your extra credit about. And so then this is what I'm going to pause here. This is all I really want to go over in this tutorial. And then if you are available and would like to come and chat at 11:30 to 12:30 tomorrow, that would be wonderful. I hope to see some of you there. I know that you may have another class with all of this other things happening this week. So you have had attendance for the week, and all we have to do is the reading and the extra credit. Have a great day.